Today in the show, we have the House of Mouse headlines brought to you by laughingplace.com, your up-to-date resource for the latest Disney news every day of the week. This episode is being released on June 14th, 2023, and here's what's been going on in the world of Disney recently. Disney exploring the possibilities of Apple's latest device, a free FastPass stand-in re-emerging in Tokyo, a new pre-show for World of Color 1, and more.
Hear the latest news from the Walt Disney Company in today's House of Mouse headlines.
This summer, the new show, Together, a Pixar musical adventure, will premiere at Walt Disney Studios Park in Disneyland Paris. This musical adventure will celebrate some of the most beloved Pixar characters and will feature a live orchestra. From the beloved Toy Story crew to Coco's vibrant decor, the world of Up, Monsters, Inc., or Finding Nemo's underwater reef, guests will be invited to embark on an immersive and multi-sensory poetic journey. Together, a Pixar musical adventure is set to debut on June 15th and will perform 5 times daily. As soon as August turns to September, Halloween time will arrive at the Disneyland Resort. This year's festivities are set to kick off on September 1st and will bring several returning favorites including Haunted Mansion Holiday, the giant Mickey Mouse pumpkin, and much more. During Halloween time, the supernatural Halloween Screams Nighttime Spectacular will summon projections, special effects, and music on Main Street USA, Sleeping Beauty Castle, Rivers of America, and in front of It's a Small World. Fireworks will also be included on select nights. On that note, with Halloween being followed by the winter holiday season, Wondrous Journeys is scheduled to make its last performance of the year on August 31st. If you have a chance, I highly suggest checking it out. It's one of my favorites. Across the Esplanade, Cars Land will once again become Radiator Screams, where the residents and establishments are decked out in their Hall-O-Ween best. Additionally, Guardians of the Galaxy Monsters After Dark will be available each night. And the Plaza de la Familia, with its tributes to Dia de los Muertos, will also return, running from September 1st through November 2nd. Of course, Oogie Boogie Bash will also be coming back this season, and will be offered on 25 select nights between September 5th and October 31st, with tickets going on sale this month. For some possible teases on what this year's event could include, be sure to go back and listen to DCTC episode 938. Hopefully that'll help hold you over until Halloween time arrives at the Disneyland Resort on September 1st. With Pixar's Elemental hitting theaters this week, the film is the focus of a new Disneyland Resort entertainment offering. Currently, guests can catch the pre-show Elemental Connection performing right before World of Color 1. The short 2-minute production introduces the world of Elemental, including its main characters Ember and Wade. Elemental Connection is now showing with World of Color 1 at Disney California Adventure, although no end date has been announced yet. A new outdoor patio is coming this summer to the downtown Disney district at the Disneyland Resort. The courtyard next to Splitsville Luxury Lanes will transform into The Alley and will feature interactive games, live music, lounge areas, and seats for dining. Few other details have been announced, but this change comes as the dining and entertainment district continues its evolution. California residents who aren't Magic Key holders and are looking to visit the Disneyland Resort this summer may be able to score a deal on park tickets. For a limited time, California residents can visit the resort's theme parks for as little as $83 per day with the purchase of a 3-day, 1-park-per-day ticket. These special tickets can be redeemed on any 3 eligible days from June 12th through September 28th, 2023, which means you can fit in some Halloween time fun. This, of course, is subject to park reservation availability. While all available ticket offers include 3 days of park access, there are also a number of other options guests can choose from. For example, a 3-day ticket with availability limited to Monday through Thursday starts at $249, while one that also works on weekends starts at $299. Guests can also pre-purchase Disney Genie Plus as part of their deals. For instance, a 3-day Park Hopper ticket Monday through Thursday access with Genie Plus starts at $384, while the same offering with weekend access goes for $434. Considering that regular one-day tickets for Disneyland fetch an average of $159 per day during the summer and don't include Park Hopper or Genie Plus, it's still a pretty good deal. To purchase your California resident tickets with this offer, be sure to visit Disneyland.com. As part of VI Pass Holder Days this month, Walt Disney World has opened up bonus reservation categories for annual pass holders, allowing extra park reservations to be made at once. In fact, the entire month of June was recently open for bonus reservations at Disney's Animal Kingdom, as well as at Epcot. That's also pretty convenient, since APs can pick up their Figment magnet and enjoy an exclusive lounge at Epcot as part of the VI Pass Holder promotion. VI Pass Holder Days continues every day through June 30th. In celebration of the release of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, the brand new Indiana Jones Den of Destiny is now open at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Located in the former home of the Indiana Jones Adventure Outpost gift shop, guests can enjoy exclusive libations inspired by daring explorers, step into photographable moments among rare antiquities from perilous expeditions, and discover costumes and props from pursuing the Dial of Destiny. And while some merchandise items are on display, guests are directed over to Keystone Clothiers on Hollywood Boulevard to actually buy them. At the back of the den is a small walk-up bar offering 2 selections of beer, as well as a trio of specialty drinks, including the Weathered Fedora, consisting of Old Forester bourbon, sweet vermouth, vanilla, cinnamon, star anise, ginger bitters, and nutmeg served over an ice sphere. Indiana Jones Den of Destiny is now open daily at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Adventures by Disney's exciting but very pricey private jet adventure tour is set to return in 2024. Last year, the company announced an around-the-world itinerary that included stops at every Disney park on Earth, as well as at a few other notable destinations. While the initial tour is set to begin next month, Adventures by Disney has announced details for next year. First, 2024 will see 2 separate departures with room for 75 people on each. These dates are June 16th through July 9th, or July 28th through August 20th. In both cases, prices start at $114,995 per person, I can't say that with a straight face, based on double occupancy. Bookings for these 24 around-the-world adventures open to the public on June 19th, with special pre-sale I'm still laughing. With special pre-sales for various groups ahead of that. By the way, when this year's itinerary kicks off, be sure to stay tuned to Laughing Place, as they'll be sharing the full experience. But sadly, no, it's not Kyle doing it. While the upcoming game Disney Lorcana has been highly anticipated by fans, it looks as though there could be some trouble brewing on the legal front. Last week, Upper Deck filed to sue Disney Lorcana producer Ravensburger, accusing the game of being stolen and copied from the company. Specifically, the plaintiff seems to point the finger at a former Upper Deck game designer. In a press release, Upper Deck president Jason Mishara said, "We invested significant time and resources to develop a new and novel trading card game. Our current leadership values the importance of protecting intellectual property of both Upper Deck and its licensor." Meanwhile, Ravensburger's senior communications director Lisa Kruger responded to the suit saying, quote, "We at Ravensburger stand behind the integrity of our team and the originality of our products. The baseless claims filed this week are entirely without merit, and we look forward to proving this in due time." Currently, Disney Lorcana is set to debut this August. The latest Disney Plus entry in the Star Wars universe is nearly upon us. Lucasfilm has announced that the new series, Ahsoka, will debut on August 23rd. Set after the fall of the Empire, Star Wars Ahsoka follows the former Jedi Knight Ahsoka Tano, played by Rosario Dawson, as she investigates an emerging threat to a vulnerable galaxy. So get ready for more exciting adventures in a galaxy far, far away when Ahsoka arrives on Disney Plus this August. Get ready to light the black flame candle again. That's right, it looks as though another sequel to Hocus Pocus is in the works. The news of a third film was first revealed in a profile of Walt Disney Studios president Sean Bailey, but Hocus Pocus 2 director Anne Fletcher has now been tapped to return for the follow-up. Unfortunately, given the current writer's strike, an October release date for this year seems highly unlikely, but perhaps, although nothing has been announced, we'll be treated to Hocus Pocus 3 for Halloween 2024. The original Alice in Wonderland is set for a cameo on Disney Junior. Disney legend Catherine Beaumont is set to guest star in Season 2 of Alice's Wonderland Bakery this fall. Beaumont voiced Alice in the classic 1951 film Alice in Wonderland from Walt Disney Animation Studios, and will return to Wonderland in a 22-minute special titled Alice's First Day in Wonderland. Ahead of that, Season 2 of the show will kick off on Wednesday, June 28th, and the first 7 episodes will arrive on Disney Plus that same day. The fourth Captain America film has gained a new title. Previously known as Captain America New World Order, the title has been adjusted to Captain America Brave New World. The new film stars Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, the new Captain America. Other cast members include Carl Lumbly as Isaiah Bradley, Danny Ramirez as Joaquin Torres, Shira Haas as superhero Sabra / Ruth Betsaraf, and Harrison Ford taking over the role of Thunderbolt Ross from the late William Hurt. Development on Disney's live-action Moana adaptation continues to move forward as a Helmer has been named. According to The Wrap, Thomas Kail has been tapped to direct the film. Previously, Kail directed the filmed production of Hamilton that landed on Disney+, with other credits including Grease Live and episodes of the FX miniseries Fosse Verdon. All great content, in my opinion. Aside from the hiring, not much else is known about the film, other than the recent update that Auli'i Cravalho will not reprise the title role, although she and Dwayne Johnson will serve as producers. And now it's time to bring in Kyle Burbank from laughingplace.com. Hello, my friend. Looking dandy today in your Star Tours The Adventures Continue Disneyland Paris t-shirt.
Oh, thank you. Wow, very descriptive. That's new feature on DCTC. Descriptive audio.
Yeah.
Everything we're doing, he's going to have a little voiceover that tells you what he sees.
And what do you see, Kyle?
I see red glasses. I see I forget what that is.
Midsummer Scream.
Oh, okay.
Midsummer Scream cat
It's a black
icon.
cat.
Yes. Yeah. And a bunch of posters behind me. That's what he sees for you folks playing along at home. But there's a bunch of news to talk about today and some stuff that we personally experienced. So let's just jump in. Kind of the big news, I'd say, this week or the last 2 weeks is the Disney CEO Bob Iger was on hand for the annual Apple Worldwide Developers Conference as the tech giant unveiled a long-rumored virtual/augmented reality headset. The tech giant announced Vision Pro, a pair of goggles that will serve as both a virtual reality and augmented reality headset device. The product will introduce people to new forms of, quote, spatial computing, according to Apple CEO Tim Cook, who then compared the product introduction to the way the iPhone introduced smartphones to millions of people. Bob Iger called the Vision Pro a, quote, revolutionary platform before showcasing a few ideas of what Disney could do with the device. Viewers were treated to imagery showcasing a private performance of the venerable Main Street Electrical Parade. It'll never go away, Kyle. Never at this point. As well as personal appearances by Mickey Mouse and gameplay based on titles from Marvel, like the Disney Plus original What If? The reel also showed the option of viewing multiple pieces of sports programming simultaneously using ESPN+. According to Apple, Vision Pro provides ultra-high resolution with more pixels for each eye, this is wild, than a 4K TV, and provides a newly designed spatial audio system. The Apple Vision Pro will debut next year with a price tag of just $3,499. Starting at, all right, so it was between this or the Galactic Star Cruiser.
That's what I said. It's half a Star Cruiser.
Half a 2-day Star Cruiser experience, and
Of
you
course,
can
when
have
you
this.
put it exactly. You could have this for years.
Yeah.
It's actually quite a good deal.
Wouldn't that have been funny if that's how, like, Bob Iger started pitching it? He's like, Star Cruiser's only 2 days, but this, 10 years of your life. What do you think about this? I mean, this is, like, kind of big news. This is... Whenever I hear this augmented reality and the daily life sort of thing, my head always goes to, did you ever experience Terminator 2 3D at the Universal Parks? No. They do this whole pre-show where it's about the future and how technology is going to run our lives. And it's supposed to be like kind of like glossy, but also scary. And it just, this sort of stuff always reminds me of that. And also it doesn't excite me that much. It's one of those things that, like, I would have no FOMO over if I didn't get it. Having said that, like, I think the statement of it's going to do like what iPhones did is a pretty grand statement. But I could be totally wrong. Maybe this really is the future.
They gotta goose the stock price, Jeff. They gotta say stuff like that. No, I do think I am more interested in AR than I am in VR, which is why this overall presentation appealed more to me than some of what I've just seen. Haven't really sought it out very much as far as like the Oculus or what Meta's doing. But yeah, I thought that there were some interesting things, but was weird about the Disney presentation. It was actually reminding me a bit of the way the D23 Parks panel was because there was very little like concrete, here's what's happening, and more just like, but what if we did this? Because the only thing that was actually announced, which by the way, this was all filmed ahead of time, so he wasn't really like there at the time, is that Disney Plus will be available on the device on day one. Everything else where they did with the Main Street Electrical Parade, it was basically they showed like a countertop and somebody kind of like waved their finger and then the parade kind of took that path and then a castle pops up. The Mickey thing was like a Mickey poster where Mickey then comes out of it and comes to life. And then the what if thing was, I think the most interesting thing was the fact that they focused on what if. It feels like a kind of an odd property to highlight as kind of one of the keystones of this part of the presentation. But yeah, I mean, it looks interesting. It's just my takeaway is because this is a developers conference and kind of the reason that Apple presented this so early, if it's not coming out until next year, is because to make this what they want it to be, they need people to make content for it. So that means that, Apple's like, hey, here's what we're thinking. Now spend the next few months making stuff for this. And Disney in the same way, like some of the stuff they can do in-house, like they already have Disney Plus, they can figure out that. But Disney sucks at tech. We know this. And even with their video games and stuff, like that's all licensed. So I think part of me wonders if this was their way of saying like, here's some cool stuff you could do. Does anyone want to partner with us and actually license this and develop it for us?
And correct me if I'm wrong, we kind of talked about this a little because Bob Chapek created a whole division to create stuff like this. And then one of the first things that Iger did was say, nope, we're not doing that because Disney sucks at tech. And was like, we're going to team with somebody who does tech really well. And this is kind of what Chapek was trying to do in-house, correct? Theoretically.
Probably, to some degree, yeah. And again, I don't know where the line was as far as what they were thinking in terms of AR versus VR.
Just in case people listening don't know, AR stands for augmented reality, which means things living in your physical world, and VR is virtual reality, where it's all living in a digital world. Sorry, just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, so with these goggles, they are both. So you can use them to augment reality and basically like view what you could still see people and stuff. And in fact, that's kind of like you've all seen the memes and stuff of people seeing your eyes, and that's a projection of your eye just to kind of let the other person know that you can see them. But then you can also turn the dial and then it becomes more VR where you're completely immersed in something and seeing something that's all digital. So I would imagine that when I think of the metaverse, I think more of fully VR, like you step into a headset, you can't see anything and you're just immersed in that. So I don't know if that's what Disney was working on, but that's why I think AR is more interesting to me because I think that's more interesting. I don't know why I think it's more interesting. I just like that idea more.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. And theme park fans, have experienced augmented reality this past year with the opening of Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios Hollywood.
Yeah. And Apple actually bought that company recently. The ones that make the things for the Mario Kart.
Okay, so I just did it again the other night at Universal Pride Night. I got to go on Super, whatever that ride's called. I don't even know what they call it, but it's a fun ride. And yeah, that's augmented reality. So imagine that, but like in your living room, if you've had a chance to experience the Super Mario ride. So yeah, and augmented reality, I mean, it's been around for a while. I know, like, just in the case of iPhones, Jurassic World kind of created this fun thing where you could put digital dinosaurs into the real world in your phone. And here's the thing with me. And once again, perhaps I'm being super short-sighted here. I am not an early adopter when it comes to this sort of stuff. But To me, it just anything VR I've done or AR I've done or 3D I've done always feels gimmicky to me. It doesn't satisfy me that much. I'm like, after 15 minutes of it, I'm like, I'm good. Like, I go do, what was that company called that did the Star Wars VR? The Void?
Oh, the Void. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the Void, that was like a 30-minute experience. By the time I'm out of that world, I'm done. So for like, almost $4,000 or $3,500, to me, I don't care enough to invest that money. I am kind of curious, obviously it's a hefty price tag, but is it something you'd like even contemplate? Like, oh God, this does seem really cool. Like maybe I should start saving.
I would not buy the first generation of this.
Okay.
Almost regardless, because I think, they're going to work out the bugs. Like if you look at the first iPhone, first of all, it didn't even have an app store. So it's so crazy to like look back at that. But no, I think they're going to learn a lot. Hopefully that means it come down in price. I think, just like a lot of Apple things, I could see this being more of a tool for people in certain disciplines and artistic things that you could use it for. I think it's a productivity thing. Like I know people who swear by having not just 2 monitors, they need 3 monitors. And I could imagine that if you do that this, being able to like immerse yourself for work and for 2 hours, because that's the battery life, and having all your monitors in front of you and being able to like Tony Stark it up, moving stuff around in the world, I could see people who, that $3,500 is not going to break the bank and could be returned in terms of productivity.
Yeah, I think Walt Disney Imagineering will definitely be using these tools. Everybody probably in the theme park industry will. Now, it's interesting. You said Disney Plus will be part of it starting day one. Now, what does that mean? You're just watching Disney Plus with a headset on?
I'm sure I'm not sure, but I would think they try to tailor the experience a bit. One of the things, again, that they showed during the sizzle reel was the idea of like you're watching The Mandalorian, but then you could be sitting in like a Mandalorian ship and then maybe also have like some extra facts on the thing. Like, oh, here's the planet that they're on. And kind of like it's almost like a second screen experience, but as part of one screen.
It just feels so gimmicky to me. I might be in the minority.
It's like DVD bonus features while you're...
Well, I love DVD bonus features. To me, those are like, well, at least the behind the scenes stuff is very like historic and just, archival. But I don't know, this to me, and the AR stuff always looks very, I've said a million times, I think the new Mario ride is the perfect first case scenario for theme park AR because it's a video game. We're forgiving of stuff looking glitchy and like a video game. But whenever you want to, it feels like with VR and AR, try to get realistic, that's when the cookie crumbles. It's like, this doesn't look realistic. It looks like it was built in a computer, but like, because it's a first generation, we just kind of accept it. I don't know. It doesn't excite me that much. Watch me get one sometime in 2024 and totally eat my words. But I don't know. I do have a friend who's a very early adopter of this sort of stuff, and he's a huge Apple fan. I would be shocked if he doesn't get one, so I'm sure I will play with it a bit. But I'd be surprised if after 15 minutes I wasn't like, meh, okay, yeah, it's neat. It's neat. And that'd be it for me. But didn't Google already try to do something like with Google Glass and that failed?
Yeah, no, I know, and that's what everyone's going to point to. There's been other things like this before, but I think this is on a different level.
I think that's what they're aiming for. Yeah, I think they're aiming for a different level.
Well, I mean, even the Meta stuff is different than Google. Like Google Glass was just a tiny like little thing. Yeah. So, but you're right, it was AR, and I think you could like look things up, but it's much smaller. And yeah, I mean, we've come a long way, and then I think this is meant to take things up even further with all the sensors and stuff that they're going to put in to make sure that you don't have that glitchy experience that you're describing.
What's interesting to me is, marketing, the whole point of marketing is to convince the consumer that they need something that in most cases they don't need, right? And, that's simply marketing. I feel like there's just a really tough job of convincing people, yeah, you need this. Because I think most people feel like me. I don't know. I'm curious. Anybody listening, call the hotline, send me an email. Let me know. Like, does this excite you? Would you even consider it? Let's pretend the price wasn't even an issue. Does it excite you? I it does very little for me beyond curiosity, of which I will not pay for that curiosity. So I don't know. I'm intrigued by what the consumer response will be, and also how quickly that price tag will come down, because we all know, everything starts this way. The first VCR was, $1,000 or something crazy like that, maybe even more. So yeah, the price will certainly drop.
I wouldn't count out the corporate market on this, though. I think a lot of the early sales will probably come from specialized industries that can see a use for this and will buy at least a few for their offices for that reason.
It'll be interesting to see if they pivot marketing toward that or not. It'll be interesting. Anyway, so that's happening. Speaking of like cool, fun, techie things that's going on, recently Disney Imagineers began testing their free roaming Groot robot at Disney California Adventure. This prototype robot of Groot is one of many ways Walt Disney Imagineers are developing new and innovative ways to bring stories to life in Disney parks. Walt Disney Imagineering Research and Development is developing a small-scale, free-roaming robotic actor that can take on the role of similarly sized scale Disney characters. Here's what I want to know. So we got Groot, right? Mm-hmm. And this Groot robot that we've seen is, by the way, what did we see this in the Imagineering story? Where did we first see this? I think it was the Imagineering story, right?
Or it might have been Imagineering story. It might have been some of the other little panels and stuff they've done over the years. But yeah, now it's being play tested for select guests. I don't even know exactly how it works, but it's funny because if you watch the video that they released, the people in the audience are all cast members, and they're not even trying to hide that fact.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looked like it was all cast members, not even like select guests.
There have been guest ones, but of course, they wanted a controlled environment where they could release the footage that they felt comfortable releasing.
All right. So if you look at the size of Groot, he is the size of Mickey and Minnie in, TV and film. It would be really interesting if this is like next generation Mickey and Minnie in the Disney parks. Because I, as a continuity person, as you know, scale is important to me. I've talked about this many times, but I also think it would be really weird not to have like a mascot Mickey and Minnie and this be the replacement. I think more realistically, it would probably be a balance of the two, where it's the same way where like we could meet talking Mickey at one point at Magic Kingdom in a separate room. Maybe we'd get a Mickey and Minnie in this version. And then in the parades, it's still mascot Mickey. I don't know.
This implementation, even though it's a free roaming one, is they're using it. Basically, they're doing a version of the Guardians dance party with this young Groot. So I think if you did something like that with Mickey and Minnie, like you could bring the ones that people are familiar with from like the new shorts and stuff, bring those to life in the Disney Junior stage where I think this testing was taking place. Do something like that. So like have it very specialized. Like you still have your classic Mickey costumes and stuff around the rest of the park, but then use this for specific entertainment offerings.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I also remember them play testing and I think it was an AR Tinkerbell over in Disney California Adventure, of which I don't think we've seen, and that was several years ago.
So what happened was we saw it. I think it was actually at the Taste of Disney before the parks reopened. Okay. And then they brought it out again during the recent South by Southwest thing that Josh did a few months ago. Okay. And I'm like, yeah, we heard about this years ago. But yeah, some of this stuff never happens or happens very infrequently, like Lucky the Dinosaur, Wall-E, Muppets Mobile Lab was probably the one that lasted the longest to my memory. Yeah, sometimes these things, they test them and they never really, think about the Hulk. We had him. That was another thing that they tried for a limited time, and I don't know if he ever ended up going to Paris. He was supposed to.
And that was like a big announcement at D23, and it was still super limited.
Yeah, and that was essentially a play testing thing because they're testing out some new technology.
Yeah, and Disney did say that there are no immediate plans for use in Disney theme parks. However, a prototype in the form of Groot is being used to test unique traits, gates, and capabilities. So there we go. No promises. That's the new theme of Disney announcements. We're thinking this. No promises. No promises.
I mean, meanwhile, I mean, it'd be awesome if they did pull it off, but at this point, I'm just hoping that they replace the Epcot Frozen figures with the ones from Hong Kong. So, I have really low bar.
You mean with the non-projected faces?
Yes.
I think that was a really interesting test, and
I agree. I'm glad they tried it. It didn't work. So they seem to acknowledge that it didn't work by switching it. So I think that they should, once that opens, I think they should change them out at Epcot. But again, I appreciate the implementation, because when they do it, just do it like with the eyes. Like the Sebastian figure, I think looks great, but just it doesn't work for the full face. It doesn't match the skin tone.
I think it works really well for the Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah, that's good implementation. I just don't think the Frozen ones work.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, folks, we're talking about the projected faces and the animated figures versus the just latex sort of stuff. Is it latex? I don't know. Rubber.
I don't know.
Whatever.
The traditional AA that looks like...
And, of course, Buzz Lightyear, it looks great. So, but yeah, I think the more human the figure gets, perhaps it gets a little scarier. But in any case, we digress. Let's hop over to Tokyo Disney Resort, where they announced that in commemoration of Tokyo Disney Resort 40th Dream Go Round, the anniversary celebration, which began on April 15th, Tokyo Disney Resort 40th Anniversary Priority Pass will become available for select experiences at Tokyo Disneyland Park and Tokyo Disney Sea Park. This service, available free of charge, will be introduced this summer for a limited period, allowing guests to enjoy certain attractions with a reduced wait time. That sounds really familiar, Kyle.
Very familiar.
This looks familiar. Vaguely familiar. Sorry, I love that song. The Tokyo Disney Resort 40th Anniversary Priority Pass gives guests the ability to select eligible experiences using the Tokyo Disney Resort app after entering the park. Guests will be able to enter the venue from a designated entrance at a specified time and enjoy their selected experience with a reduced wait time. The launch date for the Tokyo Disney Resort 40th Anniversary Priority Pass is yet to be determined, but is scheduled to become available this summer. Just FYI, the attractions it's available for over in Tokyo Disneyland is Star Tours The Adventures Continue, Space Mountain, Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters, Big Thunder Mountain, Pooh's Honey Hunt, Haunted Mansion, and Monsters, Inc. Ride and Go Seek. Over at Tokyo Disney Sea, we got Aquatopia, Indiana Jones Adventure, Temple of the Crystal Skull, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Turtle Talk, Nemo and Friends Sea Rider, The Magic Lamp Theater, and Raging Spirits. I mean, Fast Pass is back temporarily for limited
Except
attractions.
they make a point to say that the name Fast Pass will be retired permanently. It's actually in the press release.
Yeah, really? Because we still use the word e-ticket. I mean...
We also still use the word MGM Studio.
Well, wrongfully. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I've got a story a little bit later about an experience at the e-ticket lounge, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Fast Pass lounge someday, because nostalgia is king and always will be. So in 20 or 30 years, we'll get a Fast Pass lounge.
Before that, you'll get a Fast Pass pin set.
True.
Recreating the paper Fast Pass designs of classic attractions, except for Splash Mountain.
I still have some Splash Mountain Fast Passes.
I probably do somewhere too.
I started collecting the Fast Passes when, the writing was on the wall that they were going to be retired. And I have a bunch because I was like, well, people would, these days kill for ticket books from Disneyland. So I was like, let me hold on to these. And I got a bunch. I was like, maybe I should frame them. Maybe I should just hold on to them and see what they become worth. I don't know, but I got a bunch.
I have a few either because I got them because I was going to try to do something and then didn't get around to it. But more often than not, I have them because I wanted to collect a few of them. This is long before I knew it was going away, but also some of the foreign parks and stuff like that. I'm like, well, I can just ride Ratatouille now, but I want this little piece of paper with this cute design on it to remind me of my ride.
Yeah, it's interesting because we definitely live in a world of collectors, right? Like people love to collect things, but we keep gearing more and more toward digital everything. So that's when we get crap like NFTs that nobody cares about. And so it'll be interesting to see, like, in, I don't know, 30 years or whatever, like what people are collecting. Maybe digital stuff will satisfy people, but it doesn't me.
Do you think if people do sell Fast Passes that there'll be like different grading as far as what it's worth. Be like, oh, this is a dead fast pass that says you can't get another one, whereas this one actually has a written time on it. That one's way more valuable.
Yeah, I don't know. I got a whole slew of them, and I would try to definitely like keep certain like holiday ones, like Haunted Mansion Holiday and Monsters After Dark. Can't remember exactly what I have, but I tried to get like a whole range of them, and I got a small stack. So in any case, Kyle, in celebration of the recent Hocus Pocus 3 news, I'm going to do something special over on the DCTC Patreon page. Now, there is a tier over there that offers new patrons a one-of-a-kind souvenir. It's a bookmark made from a genuine film cell from a Disney movie. Considering the Hocus Pocus news, all new patrons that join Patreon at any level this month, June of 2023, will receive the one-of-a-kind bookmark featuring a film cell from the original Hocus Pocus. That's right, join the DCTC Patreon at any level and get a genuine piece of Hocus Pocus history mailed directly to you. This is the first time I'm doing this, might be the last time, so hop on over to Patreon now if you're interested, and for all current patrons, if you haven't yet received a film cell bookmark yourself, reach out to me and let me know. I'll take care of you too. You can find the DCTC Patreon link in this episode's description. I know Kyle's dying for one, big Hocus Pocus fan.
I don't necessarily want a Hocus Pocus one, but you did make me a film strip bookmark, and it's quite nice, so I would recommend that people get on this.
Excellent, folks. Now some news that Kyle specifically wanted to talk about. Something cool happening on Sunday. Nostalgia is king. Here we go. On Sunday, July 2nd, 2023, the Chicago Cubs are recognizing the 30th anniversary of the iconic Chicago baseball movie, Rookie of the Year. And Henry Rowan Gardner himself, actor Thomas Ian Nichols, will bring the high, stinky cheddar to throw at the first pitch before the Cubs take on the Cleveland Guardians. I didn't get that reference, but I hope I read it well.
You did read it well, and actually you messing up the name would have also been a good reference, because in the movie, the manager for the team can't get it right either. He's like, oh, way to go, Rosenbagger.
Now, D23 members are invited to join for a day of fun during Rookie of the Year Day at Wrigley Field in Chicago, Illinois. The event begins with a private stadium tour of historic Wrigley Field and a chance to get an inside look at where parts of the movie were filmed. Also included with your ticket is a seat for the Chicago Cubs versus Cleveland Guardians game that day, which will be honoring the film's anniversary with some pitch-perfect moments that every fan will enjoy. And when the game concludes, it'll be time for some movie magic. Rookie of the Year will be screened outside on Gallagher Way for all to enjoy, with a reserved area for D23 members, along with a special appearance by the film's star Thomas Ian Nicholas, who will share some of his favorite rookie moments with fans. Tickets range from $170 to $280. D23 members may reserve a ticket for themselves and up to 5 guests, and tickets are now on sale over at d23.com. This sounds pretty cool. I gotta say, like, I've definitely seen the movie, but it's not one that I watched repeatedly. But it sounds like you did.
Yeah, I loved this movie as a kid. When we moved cross country from New Jersey to Arizona, we stopped at Wrigley Field because I became a Cubs fan because of this movie. So I was very excited when it came into the Disney canon, and I have it on DVD.
Oh, who made it?
Fox.
Fox, okay. It's so funny because like my head kind of went to Angels in the Outfield, and thought it was kind of like that same, not universe, but same family. So it's a Fox movie. Okay.
Yeah, but so I just thought this was really cool. I felt like it was one of those movies that I didn't think was very popular at the time. Like it felt like a very short time, and then I don't know if it's had the same sort of comeback. Like I hear people talk about Hocus Pocus all the time. I don't hear really that many people talking about Rookie of the Year. So the fact that they were doing this, I thought was really cool. And of course, now it's not. Now that I'm not a D23 member, that's when all the cool things are coming to the Midwest instead of just the coasts.
Does the D23 member have to be there, or could I get you the tickets?
I don't know how it works.
Look into that. If I can get you the tickets,
I have to look at what I forget when it is already. But
I just read it. July 2nd, 2023.
July 2nd.
It's actually coming up real soon, isn't it?
That's coming up real soon. Yeah, I could go to Chicago and then go to other places in the Midwest.
I regret to say I've never been to Chicago.
Really?
Yeah, I really want to go. I know it's a big theater town. I really want to go. I really, really regret not going when Oprah was there. And so I'm kind of kicking myself for that.
Or Springer. Have you watched any of The Dark Side of the 90s on, I think it's on Hulu.
No.
Yeah, there's a one about trash TV, like Jerry Springer and stuff.
Nice. Anyway, so are you actually considering going to this?
Not really. I just wanted to talk about it because, like I said, I think it's cool that it's happening, and I like that movie. And if you haven't watched it, it's probably doesn't hold up, but it makes me laugh. It's great nostalgia for me.
I remember that actor doing some good stuff for
He's
a
in
good amount
American
of time.
Pie is probably his best known role, and then Daniel Stern's in it. I think Daniel actually directed it. He's the voiceover on the Wonder Years, the original Wonder Years. And of course, he's in Home Alone.
Home Alone.
And he has a supporting role in Rookie of the Year.
Very, very cool. Well, I'm excited. Listen, I love this kind of niche stuff, right? Like, I love that they're doing this. Hopefully it does well. Like you said, I don't hear people talking about it a ton, but I wouldn't be surprised if they market it well enough that people randomly hear about it. I bet you there's a good amount of people that are like, oh man, that was so my childhood. Like, I just wasn't a kid watching a ton of sports movies, but I do certainly remember this movie.
I mean, I wasn't that into sports either, Jeff.
Well,
somehow it worked on me. So
this movie getting you to go to Wrigley Field is like very Jeff DePauli. Like the amount of, I literally keep a document of like places I want to go in this country, like just a stupid bucket list document. And some of them are just so random like that. And I keep checking them off. So in any case, speaking of cool D23 events, you actually got to go to one. There was a cool D23 event recently in Marceline, Missouri, Walt's boyhood hometown. And I don't really know what went on, but you did the whole shebang, right?
I did the whole shebang, which after more than 8 years of living in Missouri, I finally went to Marceline. So the way this worked was the places nearby that has big enough hotels for a big group was in Chillicothe, Missouri, which is apparently the home of sliced bread, and they will not let you forget that fact. There's actually a sliced bread themed escape room, so I'm told.
That is my favorite thing ever. A sliced bread a sliced bread themed escape room?
That's what people that spend the night there told me.
What do you have to do? Escape the knives from slicing you?
I don't know.
That's amazing. Man, I wanted to go experience the It escape room in Vegas, but now I'm thinking I need to go to Missouri. This sounds unbelievable. Wow. I love that. I do remember going to Marceline, though, and staying at a hotel about 30 minutes away from
That's basically
Marceline.
what it was. Yeah, it was about 30 minutes away. They do have smaller hotels in Marceline, but yeah. So anyway, I drove there to meet the rest of the party, people who actually spent the night there. I just drove the 3.5 hours up there. And not D23's fault, but because the person that invited me didn't send me the itinerary. So I had no idea what to expect. And I was pleasantly surprised that it wasn't overscheduled. It was, hey, we're going to have a small presentation now. Be back here at 1:30. Here's a lunch voucher. You can go to these 4 restaurants. Go explore on your own. Oh, they gave us like a scavenger hunt, which kind of helped point us in the right direction and was kind of a fun thing to do. But other than that, we had 2 pretty sizable chunks of time to just explore and see what we wanted to see. You got a ticket to the museum was included. Like I said, you got lunch included, and there was a street fair going on. So that was a lot of fun. And I have to say, the people of Marceline are insanely nice. We were going over to the elementary school because that was one of the things on the scavenger hunt. And
The
of course,
Walt
we also
Disney
wanted to see
Elementary
it.
School, right?
Yeah, Walt Disney Elementary School. We've seen the murals and the characters and stuff like that, so I wanted to go check that out. Everything else is very centrally located right off, Main Street, USA. This one was a couple blocks away. So we're walking over there and we're not 100% sure which way to go next. So we ask a guy, and instead of giving us directions, he's like, "Oh, just hop on the golf cart," and drove us over there. I overheard another couple that I guess they mistook the time that the buses were supposed to leave to go over to Walt Disney Family Farm. And so they were in an antique shop when they watched the buses roll away, and the owner of the antique shop gave them a ride over to the barn instead. Someone I know didn't have cash, didn't realize the place was cash only, and the restaurant owner's like, "That's okay, I'll get you something anyway." And the entire city was staffed by volunteers and stuff that were helping out with the event. And, a lot of them were school teachers, we came to find out, because school's been out for a couple of weeks at that point. So they were just helping out. And I guess what surprised me is I guess to a certain point, if you're going to have a business in Marceline, Missouri, you're going to have to like put the Mickey in the window. You got to like know your stuff. But I would think that at least someone there would be jaded about it and not really be into it. And it was not that way at all. Everyone felt very earnest and really like proud of they call it a city. I don't know if it feels like a town. They call it a city. And yeah, everyone just really embraces the Walt connection there, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, that's not like Salem, Massachusetts, where like many of the people hate Halloween. They're like, oh God, more Halloween people. But yeah, that's so cool. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't DCTC guests Marcy Carricker Smothers there?
She was, yeah. So that was the second half of the thing. So after exploring the town, we got bussed over to the Disney family farm. So that's where the Walt's barn is, which is a recreation of the barn.
Did you sign it?
I did not.
Did you find my signature? They had the
option to. Did I find what?
My signature?
I didn't look that hard for it. I wish if you would have told me where it was, I could have looked.
I honestly don't even know if I'd be able to find it anymore. It was so long ago. But God, I really want to get back to Marceline. When I get back there, you're meeting me there. And I just remember, speaking of like the small town niceties, I just remember pulling up. I showed up like the day before an event and, went to the event the next day. But the day before, like the street was dead. And I just remember going up to an ice cream shop and it said, door's locked, but we're open. Just call this number if you want some ice cream. And I was like, that's amazing. These people are like just living their life. And yeah, if a customer comes along, we'll come down and make you some ice cream. No problem. So it's adorable. I love it. Really recommend it for any Disney fans, like Disney history, Walt Disney fans. Marceline, Missouri should definitely be a bucket list item. And I feel like in the last few years, there have been more special events going on than there used to be. Like when I went, it was for the Toon Fest celebration, which really had nothing to do with Disney specifically. But of course, there were Disney people there. But now, like, there's official D23 events and stuff like that. So, and was Don Hahn there?
Don, not that I know of. Brett Iwan, is that how you say his name?
Yep.
Yeah, he was there. He gave a presentation, more just like, just kind of sharing his story about, growing up and on how he got into the business and stuff like that. It was about a half-hour speech. It was pretty interesting. And then, the menu was all curated by Marcy.
By Marcy, yeah, because she wrote the Eat Like Walt books. And you've heard her on this podcast a couple times talking about several of her books. So Marcy is wonderful.
I will say, I talked about how, it's nice that people aren't jaded in the city, but I myself had to laugh a little bit because, the Dreaming Tree, already kind of a silly concept because, he just was like, oh yeah, that's the one I dreamed under. It got hit by lightning.
Yeah.
So now they have Son of the Dreaming Tree and they have a little plaque and it's just funny to see people like posing with it. I'm like, it's just a tree. Like it has really no connection.
Well, it's a seedling, right? From the original
Probably,
tree?
But still, it's so like, I don't know. It just, I rolled my eyes a little tiny bit and then I'm like, oh, shut up, Kyle.
Yeah, shut up, Kyle.
Just appreciate things.
I have a piece of the Dreaming Tree. Just let it be, man.
But to your point about how it's kind of growing, like the main event, I guess the main event was that Citizen donated a clock to the Walt Disney Hometown Museum. In front of it, that's like the one at Magic Kingdom. So that was kind of the reason for it. And so Citizen had a big presence at this, tiny little street fair thing where they're selling watches and they brought a bunch of people out. So most of the event was D23. You got like, preferred viewing and got treated like kings around town. And then at this event, there was a mix of D23 people and people that bought tickets through Citizen. And interestingly, I think while the cheaper Citizen ticket was a little bit less than the D23 event, overall, the people who were D23 got more for their money than the people who bought through Citizen, with some tickets being even more. They're like, oh, we're VIP. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, you're VIP behind the D23 people. And they paid $425, whereas I think the D23 might have been $350 or something.
Now, knowing how close you live to it, and based on your experience, will you go back? Will you do it
Well, I had to leave my wife behind.
I was going to say, will you take your
I feel like
wife?
I need to take her.
Yeah, it's like just adorable, isn't it? Like, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's very nice. And my friend who'd been there before says that they've made some updates in the past few years. So there was like a nice little lake fountain thing that just looked great. The food that we had was really good. Nothing like, it's not fancy food. It was just a burger and fries, but very tasty. And a great mural. I love the Main Street USA mural that they had on one of the walls.
Yeah, I think I went into the Uptown Theater where Walt had premiered, was it Steamboat Willie? I could be getting my history wrong, but their little movie theater on Main Street, I think it was Steamboat Willie premiered there. And I remember going in during the Toon Fest celebration, but I didn't see a movie there. There's definitely things I want to go back and do. It was 2006 when I went.
I don't think they show movies in the theater anymore, if it's the one I'm thinking of. But
sad. They should. Somebody needs to revive that ASAP.
It probably needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like structural work.
Yeah, so it was. It's a cool little place. I think I've told the story on the podcast, but just in case I haven't, the reason I went is because of the Lady and the Tramp DVD, because there's a special feature on there, and I was watching this like mere weeks before I was planning my travel across the country to move. And I came across this thing about Marceline, Missouri, and how it inspired the look of Lady and the Tramp. And they had like interviews with people at the hometown museum and stuff like that. And I was like, I need to stop there on the way moving to LA. I have to. And gosh, no regrets. Loved it so insanely much. So I'm so glad you did it.
It is a bit of a drive from Kansas City, but most of the people that fly into Kansas City. So while you're there, you can also go check out some other Walt stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. Very, very cool. And by the way, a lot of this stuff is mentioned in the America's Hidden Mickeys document that you can get for free when you sign up for the Disney Coast to Coast mailing list. So check that out in the episode description as well. So while you were doing that, Kyle, I actually had, a sad but beautiful thing that I was invited to, very surprisingly, by someone over at Walt Disney Animation Studios, the Disney legend Burny Mattinson Life Celebration. As you probably recall, several weeks ago, we reported on the passing of Disney legend Burny Mattinson, who was by far the longest Disney employee of all time. He was just missed his 70th anniversary. And this life celebration actually took place on the day of what would have been his 70th anniversary with the company. And it was at the Samuel Goldwyn Theater in Beverly Hills, part of the Motion Picture Academy. I think that's where I went. I'd been there before. I think that's actually where I went to see the Beauty and the Beast 25th anniversary and met Angela Lansbury there so many years ago. But yeah, it was so beautiful. I mean, it was the who's who of Disney animation. I was looking around, and of course, some past guests were there. Got to see Don Hahn and Floyd Norman and Rick Law and so many wonderful people. But it was just like, oh look, there's the director of Beauty and the Beast. Oh look, there's the director of The Little Mermaid. There's the director of The Lion King. Like it was everybody. And I was sitting like 2 seats behind Eric Goldberg, who, gosh, love him. And it was such a beautiful presentation. And of course, it's a sad occasion. We're celebrating the life of this person who recently passed. But I got to be honest, like most of it was filled with laughter. Oh my God. Like the stories were fantastic. Just the amount of love that these people had for him was huge. I got to be honest, I didn't know much about him. One of my favorite credits that he has is as the director of Mickey's Christmas Carol, which was kind of a resurgence for Mickey because Mickey had kind of been like, only from like past vintage stuff up until that point. So it was great to see that. They, of course, were a lot of video clips of Burny talking about his Disney career. And it was really, really, really beautiful. Great stories, lots of laughs. And, at the end, it got a little bit emotional, but they did present his family with, is it every 5 years? I think you get some sort of gift from the Walt Disney Company. When you work for the company, it starts as like a pin. Is the first pin Donald? I could be making that up. But in any case, you get pins, and then at some point they become statues. And because Burny is the only person to ever get this 70th anniversary statue, they asked him what character that he wanted featured on it, and he chose Winnie the Pooh. So they presented that statue to his family, at this presentation. It was like 3 hours long. It was beautiful. And I sincerely feel privileged to have been invited. And so, yeah, thank you, Walt Disney Animation Studios, for including me in that. It was pretty remarkable.
I have two things. First, I want to share, just as a segue between our two things. Benji, who I was with, and Marceline got up, must have been like 2 o'clock in the morning, drove the 2 hours back to Kansas City to catch a 5:30 a.m. flight the morning after, and flew out to Burbank to go to the Burny thing.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's
so
wild.
Dedication. And then the other thing that he said that I thought was funny, you mentioned him doing Mickey's Christmas Carol. I heard that the reason that he pitched that was because he wanted nothing to do with Black Cauldron.
Yes. Oh my God. The amount of Black Cauldron shade that was thrown at this presentation was unbelievable. And I should say, there was a camera crew. I'm not going to say it was like a major, TV production camera crew, but it also wasn't like, a mini little camcorder or recording with your iPhone. Like, there was a camera crew there. And I don't know if it's just for like Walt Disney Animation archival purposes, certainly could be, but I would not be surprised if at least pieces of this pop up somewhere. Maybe the whole thing will end up on Disney Plus. I don't know. But there will definitely be parts that were edited out because there was just crap talk about certain directors and there was crap talk about the Black Cauldron. And you're right. He pitched Mickey's Christmas Carol based on the record. I didn't realize the record came first. I know of the record. I actually have the vinyl record and the cassette. And he based it on that and was like, yeah, I think this could be a short. And it was to get out of the Black Cauldron. And there was some, I'm telling you, there was, I wanted to record it all so badly and be like, let me release this as a podcast. But of course, that was inappropriate. I just sat there and enjoyed it. So yeah, it was a lovely presentation.
You mean
and
you
thanks
lived
again.
in the moment?
I lived in the moment. But if life were made of moments, even now and then a bad one. But if life were only moments, then you'd never know you had one. What Disney film is that from?
I don't know.
Into the Woods.
Oh.
Yes, I know it's not originally a Disney film, but it is a Disney film. It's a Sondheim musical. It's beautiful. Hoping to see the tour very soon. In any case, let's move on from there. I did mention the e-ticket lounge recently. Do you know what the e-ticket lounge is?
It sounds familiar, but I don't.
Yeah, I didn't really either. So a very generous friend invited me. I was staying at the Disneyland Hotel, and they have this club level service at the Disneyland Hotel. It's called the e-ticket lounge. And in there, it's basically, a place to chill and relax. And they kind of load it with food and snacks throughout the day. But it's also a great place to watch the Wondrous Journeys fireworks. So I got to go up there. It's like the top floor. I think it's the top floor of the Adventure Tower overlooking downtown Disney. And of course, they pumped the music from the fireworks in there. And it was such a cool experience. And so I just wanted to say thank you so much to that generous friend who is listening right now. Very much appreciated.
Well, now that you mention it, I think I've actually been there.
Oh, there you go. Have you watched the fireworks?
I don't think we did watch the fireworks from there, but I do remember going to the concierge level at one of the resort hotels and getting free soda and being very happy about it. It was probably like 15 years ago, maybe.
Wow. Yeah, one of the cool things about it is it shares a hallway with all of these like suites, and each suite room has like a different theme. Like it'll be like the Adventureland theme, and like the doors are, they're very ornate based on what the theme of the suite is. So it was kind of cool to just walk that hallway and see all of the different doors. So it was a fun experience. I also want to give a quick thank you to Crystal at Castlebound Travel Company. They are Disney travel expert vacation planners, and Crystal was super helpful to me recently. So thank you, Crystal, and very much appreciate you being a listener and helping me out. You can learn more about them at castleboundtravelco.com. I also owe a congratulations to longtime listener and good friend of the show, Robert Scontrino, for scoring the highest score possible on Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters at Disneyland. He scored a 999,999, which makes him a galactic hero. How he did that will remain a secret, but I don't know of anybody else that's done it. I'm sure someone has, but
I've done it in Florida where it's much easier, but I think my record in California is probably only like 400 or 500,000.
Yeah, I don't get anywhere near that. But he was very happy, and he texted me and sent me the picture. He's like, "Look what I did." And I was like, "Awesome, cool." Also want to mention this past weekend was the Tony Awards, and there was a. Did you happen to watch, Kyle?
No.
No, didn't think so. There was, as part of the In Memoriam, they included Pat Carroll, who, of course, Disney fans know as the beloved voice of Ursula in The Little Mermaid, but she has done stage work as well and Broadway work, so it was nice to see her included in the In Memoriam as part of that, because I know that there are so many people to choose from, and not everybody gets included, so was very happy to see Pat Carroll recognized that way at the Tony Awards. On a different note, congratulations to everyone involved in the Best New Musical Tony Award winner, Kimberly Akimbo, which I only knew by name before that night. And for me, I'm sure people listening know I'm a huge theater fan, but not living on the East Coast anymore, I rarely get to Broadway. So I see very few of these shows, and until tours happen, of course. And, the Tony Awards is a chance for me to watch these performances, kind of decide would I spend $150 on that? And I got to say, before they even announced the winner, the one performance that I was like, I would spend $150 on that was Kimberly Akimbo. I was like, oh my God, I can tell you that show will make me smile and gut me all at the same time. Like, it looks special. So congrats to those folks. And I'm going to end this with some happy news. Happy 95th birthday to Disney legend Dick Sherman, who celebrates this milestone birthday this week. They did have a special concert performance for him, of which he was at, and tons of Disney folks were at. I'm kicking myself not for going. But, I have interacted with Dick Sherman numerous times. They've always been lovely situations. We have mutual friends. I adore the man. God bless him, 95 years old. So happy for him. And if you haven't seen The Boys, the Sherman Brothers story, the documentary all about him and his brother Robert, check it out. It's phenomenal. Is it on Disney Plus? I don't even know.
Which one, The Boys?
The Boys.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, it should be.
Unless it got purged. I don't think I checked before and it was there.
Okay,
with
cool.
Waking Sleeping Beauty, good double feature.
Excellent. So I hope that's still there. But in any case, happy 95th birthday, Dick Sherman, who I'm sure is listening to this. He's remarkable. So that's all I got. Anything you want to add, Kyle?
You mentioned the Tonys. I'm pretty sure Alex, who was on Glee, won a Tony. So yay for them. They were great on the set.
I was gonna say, were you still working Glee at that time when the new cast came in?
And they were one of the ones who they would sing along with the track, and I love their voice.
Excellent. So that's going to do it for this week, and I'll talk to you again in another couple of weeks, Kyle. This has been a lot of fun. Lots of great news and lots of great personal experiences. Thanks for sharing your experience at Marceline, Missouri.
No problem.
You've heard the news, and now I want to hear what you have to say about it. What do you think of all these Disney/Apple possibilities? Share your thoughts on that or any other topics mentioned in today's episode. Call 818-860-2569, and you may just hear yourself on a future episode of Disney Coast to Coast. Thanks for tuning into this episode. Don't miss any future episodes by subscribing and following Disney, with a Z, Coast to Coast on your favorite podcast app, where episodes are available 24/7. Until next time, anything you need can be found in this episode's description. From additional information and links discussed in this episode found in the show notes, contact info to reach me, access to the show's official website, some free gifts from me to you, and so much more. So be sure to check out this episode's description. Other than that, folks, have a magical day. Bye!